What's up, Johnny? Nice to see you, my friend. Right. All right. I think we are set. Browser. Here's the browser. We'll do a quick intro. If you're new and don't know, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. I usually stream around this time each week, working on stuff related to CircuitPython. Don't have it up just yet. CircuitPython.org. You can learn more about it here. It's a way to program microcontrollers with Python code. It is an open source project. It is supported by Adafruit. They pay a team of folks, including myself, to work on the project, as well as other folks to work on other open source software. If you would like to help support them in CircuitPython and all the rest of the open source software that they pay people to work on, one of the easiest ways to do it is by purchasing hardware from them at their shop, which you can do at adafruit.com. They do have Fruit Jams in stock. Fruit Jam is a little mini computer, RP2350 based microcontroller device that has a bunch of built-in peripherals to be able to hook up to a display and have USB inputs with a keyboard and a mouse. And it has a Wi-Fi chip, has all sorts of stuff. So there are some of these in stock, and that is what I am using today. I have it loaded up with the DVI. The video output is plugged into a capture card that I have here in VLC. So thanks to them. Thanks to everyone who supports them by purchasing hardware. And then I am just jumping right back into this card maker program, which is what I have pulled up here. Right here, get some coffee going. So if you would have anyone who watched last week, was it? Yeah, last week on this stream, I did the snowflake maker, this part. So you go here and you can click some dots, and it essentially makes a polygon that it cuts out there, and you can keep cutting out more. And you can kind of do this. But now I have integrated the snowflake maker in with the rest of this whole card setup thing. If I press, I have the keyboard here that's plugged in to the Fruit Jam. If I press escape, it takes me back over to this side where we can set up the rest of the card. And I'll just go through the full thing here so that we can see. The next thing that I would really want to do is unmount CP saves. I'll do that, unmount CP saves. And then we can run generate card. Well, I could put something inside. Do the old standby hello world there. Can run generate card. It will do those things. It will remount CP saves for us. So if we go back to here, we have CP saves. There's now card.html. And if I open card.html in the browser, it is an HTML page. Oh, microphone got into the shot there. It is now an HTML page which has the stuff for the card. So happy holidays, which was the outside, the front message right here. The inside message is hello world, that's down here. The back, I added a logo, Fruit Jam, made with Fruit Jam logo. And then the snowflake obviously is there on the front. You can also do a custom one. So custom front SVG, we do that. Check this one instead of snowflake. And I'll change the front as well. Say, I'm pretty sure my custom thing, oops, typed on the wrong keyboard. Oh, also we need to backspace. Oh, this one's also not a text box. Fix that. I will unmount again. And then generate. And then I think we could probably just refresh this. Yeah. So now we have new message on the front and a new picture as well. This one is a custom picture, custom SVG file I downloaded. So this thing lets you put either the snowflake that you designed or the custom SVG file right now. I'm going to turn this back on. So it will print on white paper, obviously, but I just like that a bit better. So there are a couple of things we want to do to this app today. One of them I just noticed is Dinosaur is not in a text box. The front input, front message input right here. Oh, it is a text box, but it needs to use the latest thing. Or it needs, yeah, I have the in-between version. Next input. Oh, that's the inside. Okay, I was looking at the wrong one. Okay, yeah, here we go. So inside message input is a text box, but front message input is actually just a label right now. Get a text box, and we will give it a height and a width of, I think it has currently a height of 12. And I guess I'll just do a width of like 100 and see what that looks like. Oh, this is the wrong thing though. This is not the input. I'm on the wrong one. Front message input right here. Oh. Terminal thing is that. Okay, there we go. It's a little wide, but I guess that's fine. I actually do want to take the time, now that we have a text box, we can declare the height. We can give it, I guess we could have done padding before, but I'm going to give it a little bit more room down there. Nice. And I actually do kind of like it being a bit wider. We don't want to make it too wide because I don't necessarily really want it to wrap on the front of the card. So I think what I'll do is, it could actually still go a little bit more though, I think. Wouldn't be terrible. And then I do think we should move this checkbox. This includes stars. Front stars, checkbox. This is using the end of the front message label. So it should actually just use the end of the input instead, which would be message input dot x plus input dot width. Text box just has a width 18, so we give a little bit of room in between as well. Okay, there we go. Now we have, this is a little bit bigger. There's still a gap here between the stars and that thing. Yeah, I do like that. And then this should also not disappear anymore. Backspace. You can have it empty and it's like that. Did want to do our dinosaur one. That. Okay. Next thing to work on is, I think, custom front bitmap, which I haven't done yet. So custom front SVG works. And the reason why actually SVG was easier than bitmap in this case is the snowflake also gets saved as an SVG. So I will talk just a minute about that. Set the stage here. So the way this works, inside make snowflake here, you're essentially drawing polygons, right? You click a point, you click more points, you click as many points as you want, and then eventually you click back on the beginning point and you drew a polygon. And what I have done is when you draw that polygon, I also essentially save it in a list, and ultimately it gets drawn inside of this SVG template as well. I have an SVG template file which has like a for loop over all of the polygons in this list of polygons, and for each one of them, stick their points inside of the SVG attribute points for that polygon. And there's actually 4 of them because it also does mirroring the same way that the snowflake does here. Like you draw your polygon in the top left, and then the CircuitPython code mirrors it to here and mirrors it to down here. And these ones are the mirrors. So it draws the same polygons and it mirrors them the same way in an SVG file. It saves that SVG file inside of CP saves. Now we can't view the SVG file in CircuitPython, but we can add it to the HTML page. card.html can have an image tag with an SVG file in it. Oh, that's interesting. Why is there a period there? Oh, it's a float. Interesting. Yeah, we should fix that. Doesn't matter too much because the browser is pretty happy to just go with the flow, but it's not really intended to be like that. We could just give it an int and do that real fast. We did render the template. We passed to the timestamp. Right, timestamp. We could just go here, just int on that. That was a little workaround to make it always refresh. Anyone who's done web development has probably run across that phenomenon where it doesn't, the local browser wants to cache like an image or whatever, right? But sometimes it's changed and you don't want it to cache. So appending this makes it always update essentially. All right. So the snowflake gets built up as an SVG. The SVG gets included in the HTML page, and so including a custom SVG was super simple. We just copied the custom SVG instead of the snowflake. We put it in the same place. We called it snowflake, and therefore it got shown. I do think we'll tweak it a little bit. I think what I would like to keep the existing snowflake, and then maybe we pass along, like, here's the file that you should use inside of this context. Then inside the template, we can reference that file. That way we can keep our snowflake and our custom file. And if you want to like make a snowflake card after a custom card with your old snowflake, you still can. In fact, why don't I do that before the bitmap? Because the bitmap is going to reuse this whole little bit that I'm talking about here. So when we do this, let's save this as actually custom front SVG. And then let's make a variable called front image. And actually, well, we can put it, let's see, this is if, when we click on that, if the snowflake is checked. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to make, if the snowflake is checked when they click generate, we're gonna have front image equals snowflake. Be an SVG though. And then if the custom SVG was clicked, what on earth happened here? Did I do this? Like this. Just, oh, it's after the, it's after this. Okay, just a little weird, I guess. Be fine though. Okay. So we're saving the custom SVG. So in here, we're gonna set this to this. And we'll pass this through. So we'll just say front image is front image. Now we have that. I guess we'll make it empty to start with so that this doesn't be upset, but it would break if you did an empty one anyway. We'll have validation. I think one of the other things that I'm gonna do today, hopefully, is add validation right here. So when you click generate, it will make sure one of these three things are checked. And then inside the template, you can now do context front image. All right, let's see if that works. With both the snowflake and the custom one. Do custom first because it already has the file. I don't have to make a snowflake for it. And I'll just leave it blank as well. Oh, I didn't. Hello? Hello? All right, that's another thing I'm gonna do today is make the flow of this better. Like, I think I might split remount to another button so that you can generate and then it tells you to unmount on your computer side and then you can click the remount button. Or maybe we'll have it pop up a box that, like, when you click generate, maybe it will pop up a box that says go to your computer and unmount CP saves. Like this. Okay, so now we're empty here. We have this, and that did totally work because we got our custom, and now it is custom front. So it's no longer snowflake, just overwritten by a dinosaur. Now it is actually custom front. That's good. And now we can basically do a very similar thing for bitmaps. The idea here is you just drop your custom one on CircuitPy, and it's copying it from CircuitPy over to CP saves. That way the HTML page can reference it. All right, and then I need a bitmap to use. I think kind of random, but okay. Anything else interesting in here? Let's go in here. Okay. I don't have like transparency though. Yeah, we'll do snake for now. Slash. Copy of that, call it custom front.bmp. And then the rest should just work, I think. Unmount. Yep. Right. Oh, I didn't see us saving BMP though. Oh, I think I didn't. Yeah, we didn't update this. It should say custom bitmap. And I guess because it's elifs, it didn't execute the second one, which is good. I've remounted those. Mount again. Error. Oh, we should not do this one. Should not be one should not be ASCII, right? This should be bytes. Read bytes, write bytes. Bitmap, it's binary data. SVG, it's text data, but there we go. Saving bitmap, and this will take longer, I assume. It's still pretty fast, honestly. Did I remount? Okay, it's there. I'll just refresh. Nice. Cool. And the size is fine as well. I think it zoomed it a little bit. I put like image width. That's going to change the size. But that'll make it so you can use small images and it's still like it zooms them up to fit the thing, or you could use a bigger one, it will take it down to fit. Rather than trying to like have an image that's the perfect size. You could find the correct size. I don't know what it would be. 325 by 60 looks like. So it might depend. You could probably use different aspect ratios too, and then it would be different. But okay. All right. Custom bitmap works. Let's do what I was talking about and make it so that it's gonna validate that at least one of those boxes is checked. Because right now it would let me, if I just unchecked all of these, and then to generate it will either crash or just say that it's done, but it will be a broken thing or something. It won't be good. We don't want that. You'd always have one of those three checked. They're kind of like a radio group disguised as checkboxes. So there's two ways we could do it. We could either just like make it physically, virtually, it's not really physically, virtually impossible. Virtually makes it sound like there's a chance, which is not what I mean. I just mean virtual, it's in the thing. Anyway, you could just always check one. Like if you uncheck one, then it will just always check one. Or we can give you an error when you click generate. Got like an error when you click generate. When you click generate, if none of them are checked, we will skip the rest of the stuff. Continue would skip the rest of the stuff. So if none of them are checked, so if not checkbox checked and box and Snowflake, we have BMP, we need SVG. All of them are unchecked, then just make an error message. Don't do anything else. Status is must select front image. Does continue do something I'm not expecting and actually just go to here? Thought continue would skip to the next iteration of while, which would be basically the next iteration of the main loop. So the question is, did the continue execute and do something I'm not expecting, or did it not execute at all? Generate. Out of order. That's fine. False, false, false. Oh. Executed, but it didn't do what I thought. Like. Didn't execute. Those are all false. Oh, there we go. Must select front image. You have to do one of the three. Snowflake. I think I've tested Snowflake since I switched to the dynamic front image, so let's do that. That's it. Generate. Unmount it. Yeah, I think definitely having remount as another button would be good. So that's the next thing we're going to do after this. Because if you don't if you right now when you run generate, it automatically runs remount. And the thing is, if you run remount without unmounting it manually on the PC, it gets in this state where it takes longer. It's already pending, but it's taking for a while. And it will eventually go, hopefully. It's in this like kind of stuck for a second, for several seconds sometimes. Two of those is somehow hurting it, but didn't tell me it was pending again. There we go. Alright, so unmounted, we're on Snowflake, I made a Snowflake, generate, saving, Snowflake, there we go, remounting. Okay, so let's do definitely split. Like there, it was like instant, basically. So I think if we run remount before we do that, it gets kind of gummed up or whatever. Make a separate button for generate, or for remount. So right now, generate button is at the bottom, the status label is above that. I think we should just scooch everything up. We should just scooch everything up. So we make a new button at the bottom, generate card goes up, status label goes up, and the remount button is below generate card. I'm going to make it before in that case, because these are kind of stacked from the bottom up currently. So this is actually going to be the same because we want this new button to be at the bottom. It's not going to be generate button, it's going to be remount button. Mount button. I'm just going to keep it the same color and everything. It will say remount CP saves. Might be too big, we'll see. Button, and then this, it's going to be different now. So this is doing the height minus 26. It should actually be minus another 26 because of this button. And I think also minus another 4 because I want some padding in between. Could just do that and it would work. X is going to be the same. Height and width are going to be the same. Generate. Let's see if that shows up in the right spot. No, not exactly. Equals 26 times. Are they bigger than 26? Oh, whoa. So it needs to be actually. We can't just multiply this whole thing by 2. It actually needs to be like 26 times 2 minus 4 times 2. Different? Question mark? No, that's the same, I think. Okay. Use my lack of algebra fundamentals for a second. I don't know. My best guess is they actually end up bigger than 26. I think that should put it at... Well, but if they ended up bigger than 26, the other one would be too high, wouldn't it? Oh. Ain't quite that big of a gap. Do it this way instead. Further. I don't know. We're just gonna resort to pixel. I mean, we could do... What if we did the remount button Y minus another 26? Okay. And I do want a little bit of padding. Quite that much. I think we were getting 8 instead of 4. That is what I want right there. Okay. So now let's make it so we only remount when you click remount. Alright, so right now mine is unmounted. So I could custom generate, it's saved, then remount. We get saves here. So this way now, if you forget to unmount before you generate, so like if I go back to let's say custom bitmap, and I generate, it's not also remounting. So at this point, I should be able to still go back here and unmount and get the quick one, and then remount here. And we get that. I wonder, do we need this? We don't have this. Card. Mount. Mount. We don't need it, but this thing doesn't necessarily show up until a few seconds later anyway. Okay, what's next? I think it would be nice if you could, so now it will keep your snowflake as well, I think. So we should be able to get the snowflake card back too. Like the most recent snowflake we made. I think if we choose that one and generate, should get most recent one. I always keep opening that, but then just going back to the browser anyway. Oh, no, it didn't. Because it overwrote it. Yeah. If it wouldn't have overwritten it, then it would have worked. But it actually overwrote the snowflake with an empty one. Because when you click generate and your checkbox is on snowflake, then it re-renders template. So we should actually just say if and there's something to be said for the if the snowflake is empty, then all right, well, let's do this. If snowflake.svg not in os.lister, if there's no snowflake already rendered, if there's not a previous one, and polygons is empty, no snowflake image. So we don't generate, we just give them an error. And then if the length of polygons is not 0, if it's greater than 0, then we save the new snowflake. And whether or not there was a new snowflake, we set the front image to snowflake. Because if we got to here, that means there's also an old one, because this existed. Except it should be saves. Except it should be saves in the correct way. Yeah. I think that would not overwrite the old one. But I do actually still have another thing in mind as well I would like to do with that. Make snowflake so we don't have an old one because we did overwrite it last time. Make a new snowflake. One of those. Good morning, C. Grover. Nice to see you, my friend. Coffee cheers. That for our snowflake. Escape. Generate. And then I will unmount. Remount. Here. Okay, there's our new snowflake, and then what we should be able to do now is if I just rerun it, or actually let's rerun it so that that's going to clear out polygons. The list called polygons is going to be empty when we rerun it here. So now we're going to do, what we're going to do is make a custom one first. Custom one, generate. That will have the dinosaur. Unmount, remount. Oop, too fast. Okay, there we go. We got the dinosaur. Now, if we just go back to Snowflake, and we haven't made anything, so this is blank, but it should keep the old one. If I go generate, saving card, card saved, unmount, remount. And then once that pops here, we refresh. We have our previous snowflake back. Nice. Now, though, what I would also like to be able to do is actually see the previous snowflake. So when you go to here, I want to see the old one pop up. And the way I'm going to do that is also save a JSON file. So when we save snowflake.svg, we're also going to open saves snowflake.json, write JSON dumps brackets polygons. Okay, we'll do just that by itself first and make sure it works. Make snowflake, we'll draw something. One. So this. So I didn't click into there. that case, I don't actually know which one was the first one. One? No, I might not be able to close this because I don't. If I manage to get it closed, it's going to be crazy now. I don't know which one was first. Gotta click back on the first one to get it to close. Alright, well, we wrecked this, so let's go back. Not working. Hold on. Maybe I broke it. First one works, but then the next one doesn't. So I go all the way to the corner, which removes the ambiguity because I am all the way in the corner. All the way in this corner. Am I really just missing it? I believe that. I don't know. Okay. Where are we at? So we have a new snowflake. Back to here, generate. Unmount, remount. Our new snowflake. And then we should also have snowflake.json, which now contains polygons that make up the snowflake. So what we can do is when polygons is created as an empty list, we can say if polygons.json in os.lister saves else. If we don't have a saved one, we make an empty list. Actually, we don't arguably simplify it without the else, I suppose. So if that exists in there, then what we're going to do is actually polygons extend. Well, we need to read it, I guess. So with, yeah. JSON data, extend JSON data. We saved that as polygons is a dictionary entry with a list. But still not going to actually render. We need like a render polygon function, which we don't really have. So right now, when you click, when a mouse button is pressed, when the snowflake maker is showing, when it is the left button, and it's been long enough since the cooldown, If it was the first point that was clicked, do this and then stop, go to the next iteration. If it was not the first point, then get the distance. Oh, that makes sense. We can't take the distance if there's only one point. If it was not the first point, if it's at least the second point, then get the distance. We should actually be checking for at least the third point, honestly, though, because we don't want to draw lines either necessarily. Worry about that later. If it's at least the second point, get the distance. If the distance is less than 10, that's when we essentially render the polygon. That's when we close the polygon and fill it. What I'm going to say here is actually render polygon. That is going to take the snowflake bitmap. That is going to take the clicked points. It's going to actually go inside of the auto refresh thing here. So we turn auto refresh off. We render the polygon. And we'll probably turn it back on at the end or something, I'm guessing. This. That stuff. Takes a bitmap and it takes a list of points. All right, let's make sure that still works. We can do without rendering the card, so we're gonna keep our old snowflake JSON. But I do want to make sure that the actual rendering works here. Draw a point. Oh, so the points are working good. Is that render? Yeah, it looks good. Okay. Well, let's make sure another one works. So it's having the weirdness. One in the middle? Maybe we should decrease the distance? I don't know what that was doing. That was weird. Good. That is working. We have render polygon now, so what we can do is when we load the JSON file, we can render all the polygons that exist. So we can go for polygon and polygons, render polygon, the snowflake bitmap, and then the points are the points that are inside of the polygon. Just be a list of. Ew. Those are like SVG style though. That's not what I want. Okay. Problem. I'm not going to load that one though, because I'm not going to write parsing code for that. Generate, where does generate get clicked? Generate, saving, JSON, polygons. It should be, polygons are just getting generated that way. Yeah. Okay, new plan. New plan is we create a Snowflake JSON data. Polygons, empty list. And then this I'm going to refactor to polygons, to SVG polygons. That's what it represents. Those strings in there are ready to plop into the SVG file. But this one will keep a list of actual points, like tuples like these ones. So we'll load from here. We open this. We're not going to go to JSON data anymore. We're going to go to, we are just going to go to load this whole thing. In fact, we'll just reload this whole thing from the file. We don't have to extend at all. We don't have to extend. We want to still do this. So for polygon in Snowflake polygons, and then this time we will assume that those are going to be tuples. And what we will do is whenever we add a point to polygons here, we will also Snowflake JSON data polygons append no, that's not right either. Is it? Maybe it is. Polygons.append points. Yeah, be right. Right? Polygon, and then when we go to save it, we should no longer. We can just dump the entire thing now. Like JSON data. All right, so let's design a new Snowflake and then generate it and see if the JSON looks better. Out. And I don't care as much about the page. Let's reload this and check the JSON. Not ideal. Hmm. Why could those be empty? All right. Thing. I mean, there's definitely points in it. Does it not work because they're tuples? Surely that converts them to... It doesn't. L is a list of lists tuples. Converts it to a list. Well, how did we get empty ones? Oh, I almost clicked remount. There should be more of a gap. I didn't actually. Did I clear it before I wrote it? I don't understand why that would be empty. Just printed it back here and it had stuff in it. Well, we have this loading. Let me take out the loading until whatever. Take out the loading until the data file's right. Maybe we're loading weird data and that's making it break later. I don't know, but I think so either. No, this JSON dumps snowflake JSON data. JSON. So in the very outer block, the file first begins, we create snowflake JSON data as a dictionary with an empty list. I wonder, are we not modifying? Is the SVG broken also? No, the SVG works. we call render polygon, we add points to the list, which is in the dictionary entry polygons inside Snowflake data. Gets created as empty. We go to save it, and it's empty. But it's not empty. It's one, because before we add more than one. Look, it will be one for every polygon. So it's correctly having the number of polygons, but suddenly their points are empty. Now I have 2 polygons. I go generate. There's 2 empty lists. I do not know. My only guess is that somehow inside of this function, we are somehow like modifying a local instance of this dictionary, which never gets created, by the way, because there's no Snowflake JSON data equals empty dictionary in here, but somehow it seems like this modification does not actually... Well, that's not true. I was going to say it doesn't apply to the other one, but that's not true because we get an empty list. So, like, something happens to it. Just not what we want, slash just it seems different after we do it. So bizarre. I don't get how it can be the correct values inside the function and then empty lists, multiple lists, one for every polygon outside the function. If it were just the main list that was empty, as in like we hadn't modified the actual outer dictionary at all, and instead we just had like a local inner dictionary inside that function, that I would kind of understand. But it's not really behaving like that either. Because then we wouldn't see a new empty list for every polygon. We would just see that one main empty list of polygons. Boy, I am flummoxed. I think the JSON writer does not work right? I don't even know. The dictionary equals this. JSON dumps the Okay. Okay. I know what happened. I think. I know what happened. We got reference versus valued again. Didn't we just do that last week or the week before? We got reference versus valued again. So the problem is I'm appending clicked points. Well, inside here it's points to this dictionary. This is clicked points. I go on to call clicked points.clear. So again, we're appending a pointer to that list. And in my head, I was appending a copy of that list that would not update when the original one changed. But because it turns out we're actually getting like a pointer to that literal list in memory, when we change that literal list in memory, we're changing our list here. Long story short, we need a copy of this. I think we can just call list on it. Oh, let's do L equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Copy equals list L copy L 0 I L copy. Right, there we go. Now we have two different lists. So we want to, yeah, and then the append for SVG polygons was actually getting around this problem because it was passing the points to SVG points, which returns a string. So it was not, like, it was passing in a reference to that original list, but it was not just directly putting that pointer to somewhat confusingly thing called points. It was not putting the points pointer into the list. Instead, it was putting a string that it generated. So anyway, we need to just duplicate. We need new points that are not the same as the old points. They're not literally stored as the same object in memory as the old points. Ironically, we do want them to actually be the same points, just not the same list in memory. I have no idea what was going on that time when it didn't work. Generate. Oh, it's actually not mounted right now. There we go. Now we have points that actually save. Are they correct? They look like they could be correct. We can refresh this. So there's that. And then what we can do is, if it loads by turning back on this load thing up here, which is actually down here. So if that file exists, we open it, we load the data into this, we loop over all the polygons, we render each one of them. That's also going to build up an SVG list for us. So we should be able to now like see our previous snowflake. Make sure this is happening. Print. Oh, I didn't call it polygons though. I called it snowflake, right? Yeah, snowflake. was not. We need to do this not quite so early. We need to let overlay be defined. Know if we want to do it before that or not. Not matter, honestly. Type isn't subscriptable. 6 render polygon. So loading snowflake happened. We print JSON so many times. Oh, because inside render polygon, we lit one for every polygon. 36. Get an empty list or something? Type isn't subscriptable, so inner point became none. But it worked the first time. We have one 4-point and one 3-point. Points. Points. That's somehow mad that those are not tuples? I mean, we can definitely find the inner point if we have the correct polygons, because if we couldn't, then it would have raised an error last time when we filled it, so... Huh. That's weird. Hmm. Now I'm just going to do this so we can see, like, if it draws a shape that looks correct, or what. Looks like an infinite loop. Why would that be an infinite loop? Because inside of here, it's appending to these things. Shouldn't really be. Go to where this gets called. Those outside the function so that it doesn't go infinite. Still goes infinite. Well, we shouldn't be doing it for the first one, actually. The first one already loaded. This one we don't need to, we don't want to add there. We just, the first time around, we just want to build up the SVG polygons because Snowflake JSON data is already populated. Didn't actually render anything. Do we need, it's calling refresh in here. It's never calling refresh again at the end. But it is out. But this is only, okay, we need this. Want to go... I think that's not the problem either, though. No, this is also broken for clicking. Yeah, I mean, we don't really want the display to refresh, truthfully. We want just the bitmap to get filled. But I have a suspicion that, well, no, because we did refresh it just now and it still didn't draw. So we need to find out if it's drawing in the bitmap and then not showing on the screen, or if it's not drawing in the bitmap. It would be super bizarre if it were not drawing in the bitmap, because it's the same render polygon that's here, which makes me think we must be getting some kind of display problem, which is the whole, like, this whole overlay thing was all an attempt to kind of work around a display issue. And I gotta think that it's basically the problem we're having. How about this? When they click make snowflake, the button, also The fold. We're gonna basically do a bunch of this. I don't know if it's gonna work really, but I'm trying to just still distinctify between is it drawing in the bitmap or not. So I want this to be hidden false so that it's showing. I want to refresh. I want auto refresh false. So we show the overlay, we make the overlay non-hidden, we refresh so that it gets actually put on the screen. We make the overlay hidden again. We refresh again. And this is all when we click on the Make Snowflake button. I wonder if we should do it before we maybe do it after we show page though. Okay. I think we should. So it works now. And so that is the problem. It was drawing into the bitmap, but it was like not being able to refresh properly. I'd like to get rid of this right here, this first flash of white, which I think is the snowflake maker being shown, but not having refreshed properly, basically. And the way we're going to get rid of that is just not add it to the page layout, which is what's controlling like which thing is showing at once, until after we add the card setup page. It should just show the page that's to get created first, I think. It should not. This time it should just go straight to here. Yeah, there we go. No white square beforehand. Okay, and then make snowflake. There we go. Nope. What's the close thing? Close this. Close this. Seriously? Close this. Just can't close. There we go. Okay. So now our loading works and you get your previous snowflake back and you could add to it. So you could kind of like incrementally build up snowflake if you wanted. You could draw one polygon, make a card, see how it looks, come back and draw another polygon, like adding on to the same snowflake. I think I'm going to do one more thing for today and then probably call it quits for the day, which is this include stars. First of all, I'm going to change it from include stars to include emoji. Because I happen to notice there's some of these here which are pretty festive also. I'm going to take those and use them too. Right now, this is all the way down here. Do them in like reverse order here. Oh, split the snowflake. Go. Yeah, I know. We could use a compound if statement thingy inside of here, but I think it looks a little wonky if I'm honest. It's Pythonisms I'm not super interested in. What we're going to do is make a variable outside message. Let's say if checkbox for the stars. I'll change the name of the checkbox as well. Checked. Front emoji checkbox. If that's checked, then the outside message equals this. Else the outside message equals this. No emoji. And then outside message goes here. So it should keep the old snowflake if I generate now. But it should have the emoji this time. The new ones that I just added. And then theoretically, we should also be able to turn them off by... Oop, we made it wrap. It's too big. Maybe we shouldn't do all four. Hmm. We're like not even really that close either. It's like really overflowed. We almost have 2 full lines. I mean, we have room for 3 lines. We could do like a line of emoji, a line of text, and a line of emoji. We don't necessarily need. We don't necessarily need 2 sets, I guess. One problem though is it's not really gonna want to let us do this. I think by default we're gonna have to do auto escape thing. Yeah, so I was trying to do basically make another line, but that doesn't work. Because this is set to be not letting you substitute in elements like that. Need another one of these. We need another one of these things. But don't try to HTML inject with your front message. Yeah, but this doesn't like that because this is a Python string. And it's an F string and it's expecting those to mean something. Actually, I have to put these here. Okay, there we go. We have emoji on one line and then happy holidays on the next line. If it's going to be 2 lines, we should scoot it up a little bit, though. Try like that. I don't really notice much change there. Looks pretty good though, I think. Give you 10 more. Is 10 more too much? Oh, I need to test without as well. Let's test it with one more time though. Actually gonna throw off my margin without. Oh well. Good. Then what about without? If we go back to here, include emoji off, uncheck. Right. Don't. There we go. Holidays. And it's a little, I mean, it is a little high now, but it's not the end of the world, I don't think. If we want to get really crazy on it, we could do selective. Like we could have, we could have logic that says change the margin based on whether or not there's two lines, basically. I think I'll put this back to 40 right here, but call it good on that. I'll keep this at the shorter distance there. Yeah, like that. All right. I think that is going to do it for today. There is still a little bit more I would like to do on the Snowflake Maker side. I would like to change it so that it's not, when you click a point, I would like to change it so it's not just putting a point in the bitmap. I would like to have some extra tile grids, some extra bitmaps that represent points you clicked that it can add on top, so that we're not modifying the thing itself, we're putting something on top of it. And I would like to make them a little bigger, like maybe 3x3 or something, so that they can be like almost a little circle around the point you clicked or something. And then I think it might also be nice, like, we have empty space over here. It might be nice to put a little bit of brief instructions about what to do. And I think it would also be nice to have some hotkeys. Like right now, we don't have a way to clear the snowflake anymore. It used to start empty, so you could just rerun the program and it would clear it. I think we want a hotkey that's like, you know, press C or delete or backspace or something. You press a key and it deletes what's here, starts you over. So we need that, and I'd like to put those in here as well. Another thing I still want to do is color. I actually started building in color support, but haven't ever done it, so we're getting a little cramped on space, but I would like maybe one more input like here that is like a hex color input, and when you type in a hex color there, then it will make that the color of your snowflake. So right now we are hard-coded to this light blue that I picked. But in this future version, there will be an input here. You could type in a different color, and then your snowflake will be that color, whatever you typed in. Those, I think, are the main things left that I would like to do still. We'll see as I do those and as I use it a little bit more and as I work on the guide if anything else pops into my head that would be nice, but I think those are the primary ones that I want to do still. So we're getting close. Definitely gotten a lot farther than just the snowflake thing by itself. All right, I think I am gonna call it a day for now because I don't think I'm gonna be able to make a meaningful dent in any of those really, and I'd rather not. I'd rather do them in one sitting than start and stop and start and stop. So I will bid you farewell. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, a good weekend, and all that stuff. I will be back next week at the usual time. Deep dive on Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. My stream here on Saturday, 10 a.m. Central time on Saturday. I'll be back. And then I am off the following week. So no deep dive on the 26th, no stream for me on the 27th. But I should be back, I think, the week after, although I believe maybe Scott's coming back for a deep dive. So I'm not certain on the schedule for that, but possibly he's starting back up pretty soon. And that is it. Farewell, so long. Thanks for watching. I will see you later.